Alright, today's video, boys and girls, how to farm Mesa 4 with randoms, with your guild, with people that may not have high revet teams, people that don't have PD or Cupid. I'm going to show you the setup and the heroes, which is basically your only two things that you're going to need for it. We're going to go to the hero altar. I'm going to discuss some of the heroes, the pros and cons of each one. These aren't set in stone. They're just general guidelines, so don't be like, oh, I use so-and-so to tank. Well, if it works, use it, but I'm just going to give you general guidelines and rules about heroes, who to use, who don't use. So let's enter here. First of all, I don't have a Cupid or a Motanica in here. Cupid's going to be obviously essential. With that being said, this is just going to be safe, is we're going to use these heroes. You don't need all these heroes. You can get by. I've gotten by with 2 PDs and 2 Cupids in a Mesa 4, and we beat it pretty easily. Now, 2 of those Cupids had revet, and 1 of the PDs had revet. So that just speaks volumes on how important revet is. And if you notice your teams are wiping, it's probably because you don't have enough revet on there and you're charging some of the heroes on the corners. I'll get into that a little bit later. I'm going to try and solo Mesa 4 for a little bit and talk about the setups and the heroes, where they're at, and why we want to avoid some places and go after others. But right now, let's do the heroes. So if you have a PD, a Cupid, and then you're going to put a Druid in there as well. So that's going to be your 3 heroes right there. After that, you probably want some sort of DPS heroes, or somebody to clear the map. That's when Spirit Mage, Grizzly Reaper, Mino's fine, because you need 1 or 2 guys to just help clear the map. Now, I'm still trying to pinpoint something on the map. There's either a hero with Blade Shell or a hero with Flame Guard, and I'm almost positive it's the Atlanticor in the east side. I still have to do a couple tests, do a couple videos, slow it down, watch Spirit Mage proc, and then watch her die. But I'm almost positive it's Atlanticor. But, so, you know, you'll get 1 or 2 heroes dying just because somebody has to kill that Atlanticor and somebody's going to get hit. If it's Flame Guard, if your heroes are really buffed up, they're going to die every time. If it's Blade Shell, it's going to be 1 out of 10. And I still haven't ran enough Mesas in slow motion to really get a good feel on what are the odds that if a Spirit Mage hits it, it dies. You know, if it dies every time it hits it, it's obviously Flame Guard. But if it's a little less frequent, then it's obviously Blade Shell. But I'm getting off track here. Back to Wave Clear. Spirit Mage, Grizzly Reaper, Mino. There should be 1 or 2 people in your Mesa group that has some sort of wave clear, just to help get rid of the towers and the other heroes, get rid of all the garbage. After that, you're going to see TG. Don't use TG. He's awful. Orc, you can go ahead, put Orc in there for extra survivability. This is just for a safe team. This isn't super DPS or anything. I mean, if you're looking at mine right here, I usually go with Druid, PD, Spirit Mage, Grizzly Reaper, and Orc. You got 2 healers, you got 2 wave clears, map clears, and then you have your PD, obviously. If you had a Cupid, I'd probably take out Spirit Mage or Grizzly. It doesn't really matter. You say Spirit Mage dies a lot. Well, yes, because she procs and then she hits the Atlanticor. But if you were to tank the east side all the time, and Immortep would die. Other things, you know. Anybody that's really buffed up, they're going to die. But Spirit Mage just happens to die more often because her magic missile is 280% of her damage. and that just basically offs her. But back to more heroes. Ares, he really isn't that good. He might delay the boss procking, but overall, he's going to proc about the same amount of times, and it's not really worth it because his damage per second is just awful. Atlanticor, free-to-play players, people that don't have PD or Cupid, I actually do recommend Atlanticor. He's a great tank, and if he dies, it's not like it's a huge loss in your damage per second at all. If you lose 5 players at the beginning, you can still win Mesa 4. And just having an Atlanticor die is more than perfectly fine in my opinion. Paladin is the same as Atlanticor. Champ, never use Champ. Ninja, never use Ninja. Motanica, yeah, you can use Motanica as a tank, but don't use her as DPS because she's awful at DPS. But Snowzilla, one of the best, if not the best, single target DPS heroes. You can certainly use him. Same with Immortep. Succubus, if you feel the need for a debuffer, use Succubus. People who are going to need to use Succubus is somebody who doesn't have a PD or a Cupid, or if they have 7 or 8 star heroes and they really almost shouldn't be in Mesa 4, but as long as you play your cards right and are smart about your hero drops and where you set them, a team of 7 stars, as long as they're inscripted up to 80, they should be fine. Santa, he is the best in Mesa 4. His 2 missiles do 10 procs each missile hit, so he is a very, very good DPS, and he's also very good at wave clear. I don't think I have any more unique heroes as far as legendaries. Oh, Vlad. Vlad's a very good tank. Like I said, as long as you have a really, really good tanker, and if he dies, that's fine. Your tanker shouldn't be your DPS dealer as well. So Vlad, Atlanticor, Paladin, if you feel the need to use them, as long as it keeps your PD safe, I'm fine. Use them. Elites, Shaman, yes, use them if you need to. If you have a full 9-star team and everybody else has 9-star teams, you don't really need Shaman as much. Ice Demon, he's more of a look at me type of deal. His proc is amazing. If you feel that you don't have enough damage to get it done in 3 minutes, you can use Ice Demon, and hopefully you'll slow one of the bosses down that he won't be able to hit you. But for the most part, Ice Demon, he's just used for speedruns. Go to the ordinaries. Not really any ordinaries to speak of. There's Frost Witch. She reduces his attack speed. But once your heroes are hitting for 200 milliseconds, there's zero, I repeat, zero chance of the boss killing your heroes. Even with a Frost Witch, without a Frost Witch, anything like that. So let's stop talking about heroes. Let's go in here. Hopefully my team. Now, let me look at, yeah, right here I don't have any map clears or anything. This isn't exactly an ideal Mesa 4 team, but I just wanted to be able to last against the middle boss long enough for you guys. Depending if I can go the full 3 minutes, I'll talk in game. If not, you can go ahead and pause the screen, and I will talk about each position and the pros and cons of each position. All right, go to Mesa 4 and create. So there's a couple different setups which everybody likes to use. If you have decent revets and you know everybody else has revet go ahead, do a 4-corner run. It's really fun to race towards the middle boss. It's actually pretty effective as well. But if you're in a guild, and like I'm not fortunate enough to have Cupid, and let's say this guy in the south isn't fortunate enough to have a PD, we're running a little bit behind on how quickly we can get everybody up to speed. And with that, it's a lot easier for the PD in the west corner, which I'm at. There's a PD over here. If he charges, since there's not enough wave clear or DPS or revets to get our heroes going, if the PD charges all 4 of the bosses, you're gonna have a bad day. Up top, I've seen it a couple times. You do north, there's a Mino and there's a Spirit Mage up north. If Spirit Mage gets her proc off, she's pretty deadly. And Mino, I'm not quite sure if he's the 7/9 or the 9/9 type, so I'm not quite sure how long of a stun he has. But if you have to deal with a boss stun and then a Mino stun on top of it, your hero's probably going to get wiped pretty easy. Now, there is an Atlantic-core on this east side, but for the most part, this east side is definitely the squishiest of all of them. As long as Atlantic-core doesn't proc, and you'll usually, depending if the Flame Guard or Blade Shell hit, you're pretty safe over there, just because he hits pretty slow, Atlantic-core does, and it takes him a while to actually get his shield up. So the 4 corners, it's okay if you have 4 really good teams or 2 really good teams. But for the most part, I see a lot of people doing 2 here, then 2 down here. The only problem with that is if you don't have your heroes placed just right for right here and right here, you'll see a lot of your ranged heroes. Let me back out here quick. You'll see a lot of your ranged heroes. So let's say I'm on the north side for the blue boss, and let's just do this for the heck of it, right? And there's a pretty good chance, depending on where that blue boss is when you start the map. Like say if the blue boss, because he likes to wander just like everybody does, if he's south a little bit more, this Vlad Dracula has a decent chance to meander off. Same with Grizzly Reaper or Spirit Mage. They have pretty good chances to meander off, and then they just die right away. That's the only bad thing about doing that blue boss. So what do I recommend, and what did I find the very easiest? It's going to be 2 east and 2 south. There's a Cupid down here, but you know what? The boss will proc right away. And then if Cupid procs, yes, the boss will get a little bit of extra damage boost, but he's not going to proc again because he has a cooldown. So let's see how long I can last for. Maybe we can talk in game. Maybe we can look to see where everybody's sitting at. I'll try and go to the east and the south corner. I'll zoom out here quick. So right there is when you want to pause it, just in case I don't live. There's a PD in the east, or in the west, I'm sorry. And then there's an Atlantic-core and a Ninja. Nothing you couldn't really handle over on the east. I mean, a Ninja could burst you down, same with the Succubus, but for the most part, that's a pretty squishy corner. Now the south, you see you have a Cupid, and he's a little bit north, so it'll take him a little bit longer to get down there. And even so, Cupid's hit speed is so slow, it's going to take him a lot longer to get his proc off. There you see this right here. This is the biggest problem. not the Motanica per se, but the TG and the PD. Your heroes will spawn over here. They'll take that tower out pretty easy. And then they might get stuck on the boss. The boss might come out. And while they're trying to hit the boss, they get stunned. And then PD, he'll get going. And that's something to watch. If you guys ever do 4 corners and you die suddenly, instead of looking at your team or somebody else's team, if you do a 4 corner run, check out the boss in the middle. Not because you won't be able to tell, but it'd be a lot easier. If he had a little pumpkin on his head in the middle, and then you zoom out, and you're going to see people getting wiped left and right. Now that's only for people with low revet or medium revet, you know. So you got and then this top is pretty deadly too. Not because of the boss, but if you don't clear out Mino and Spirit Mage, I've seen Spirit Mage, I don't know if she had any buffs on them, but we had two north, 2 south, and my heroes were hitting at full health. I think I had a 9-star Grizzly and a Spirit Mage myself, and that Spirit Mage procced, and it was just game over. They vaporized. And that Mino, if he stuns, it's almost too long of a stun to really survive. But it looked like 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. Looks like everybody survived there, so I was able to actually get a nice long video here on Mesa 4 explaining everything and why I think the 2 East and 2 South is by far the best. You don't need 4 PDs, and you don't need 4 Cupids, and you don't need full revet. That should be it. I know it's kind of long-winded, but I just felt that in order to fully comprehend everything and why I like to do things a certain way rather than another way, you got to list the pros and the cons. So thanks for watching.